Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Bauer. I'm a physical oceanographer at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts. I've been in this field for more than 30 years, and over that time, I have lost most of my useful vision. And therefore, to continue my research, I've been exploring different ways to display and analyze data. And one of those methods is data sonification. And only recently have I started to explore the use of data sonification in ocean sciences. And so I'm definitely a beginner at this, and I'm still working out how it can be used best for the kind of data that I work with most. I study ocean currents, mainly by releasing freely drifting buoys in the ocean and then tracking them underwater using sound. And that way we can develop maps of the pathways of the deep ocean currents, which are otherwise very difficult to observe. So I have just started exploring how to use data sonification in my own research. And one of the barriers to overcome is what sonification tool to use. I know there have been a number of tools developed in astronomy, but those have not yet really migrated into the geo or earth sciences, at least not to my knowledge. So for the moment, we've been exploring with the High Chart Sonification Studio, which is an online, free, web-based tool where you can import your own data and display the data visually, and also design a sonification to go with it. And so we recently been exploring that option for a very simple time series. It's sort of the easiest data to sonify because time just goes by and you can change the sounds according to the data values. So what you're going to hear in a moment is a sonification of a time series that extends over about 30 years. And it's basically just sonifying the speed of a particular ocean current in the middle of the North Atlantic at one location. And the reason we're looking at this is because during a certain period of time between 2014 and about 2019, we had some other ocean instrumentation in the water and to measure the pathways of some deep currents. But this time series actually shows the strength of the surface currents, and we want to figure out how to relate the two. So this 30-year time series, again, is the strength of a surface current. And you're going to hear a wind-like sound, which will, the pitch will be proportional to the current speed. You also hear ping, which is an annual tick mark, like a tick mark on a graph. And then you'll hear one other sound, which is a little quick shake noise, like rocks in a can, really quick shaker noise. That's the beginning of the time period when we had the other instruments in the water. And then you'll hear another shake sound when that period ends. And see if you can hear about something rather unusual that happens in between the two shake sounds, which will be between 2014, excuse me, and 2019. We haven't figured out yet with the it's not possible yet with the High Chart Sonification Studio to put what we call spear cons, which are speech ear cons to announce the year with verbal words. So they're just ticks, and they start in about 1993, and there's one tick every year that goes by. But the shaker sound will definitely signify when you get to 2014 and when to start listening for anything unusual that happens in the time series then. So we're ready to go ahead with this first. It'll last for 30 seconds. No, I'm sorry, 1 minute. 1 minute. there's the shaker, first one. That was the second. Okay, so that's the end. That's 30 years of ocean surface current strength at one particular place in the North Atlantic. And what this allows me to do as a blind oceanographer anyway, is immediately get a sense that during our period of interest there from 2014 to 2019, the fastest surface currents occurred then, which is really interesting, and that we'll be exploring further. But you can hear there's ups and downs throughout the record, but there's definitely a maximum during our time period of interest. So that's pretty basic data sonification, and that's the level I'm at the moment, is just figuring out how to develop a good workflow to produce these time series with sound, quickly and efficiently, using the HighChart Sonification Studio. So now I'm going to switch gears completely, because I've been working on another project with a team of researchers. This is a project funded by the National Science Foundation called Accessible Oceans. And this project is aimed at making data displays in museum exhibits more accessible to blind and low vision visitors, and also to anyone who has difficulty interpreting a data plot or a graph showing data that might be presented in a museum to make some particular point. So I've been working with a team of that includes a learning sciences specialist, a sound designer, and an ocean science educator and communication specialist. And then I'm an ocean science scientist, and I'm also blind. So, I've been the beta tester for the sonifications to try to develop the best practices for this kind of display, auditory display. And in our case, an auditory display includes the data sonification, but also includes a very important context for the sonifications. I, as a blind scientist, when I go out onto the web and I listen to different data sonifications, they very often don't have any context. And they're almost useless to a blind listener in that case, because I don't know anything about the ranges of the values being played, the time, time scale. What was the minimum? What was the maximum? Where are we? What is this? A lot of that information is often lacking. And so we've learned that. And in these displays, we include an initial narration, an audio key, which explains the meaning of each of the sounds that will occur in the data sonification, and then the data sonification itself broken up into a couple of segments for easier learning. And so we're going to play one in a minute, and let's start with the carbon dioxide one. And this is the flux of carbon dioxide in and out of the ocean, or exchange between the atmosphere and the ocean. And remember that this is auditory display meant for a museum audience. So the general public, students, with sort of an 8th grade science understanding or more. And it's meant to be entertaining and engaging, and I hope you'll find it that way. So let's try the carbon dioxide one.
Did you recognize that sound? That's the sound of carbon dioxide leaving a bottle of soda. Carbon dioxide also goes in and out of the ocean. Let's explore with our ears. One of the most important factors that controls the exchange of carbon dioxide between the ocean and atmosphere is the temperature of the seawater. Cold water can absorb much more carbon dioxide than warm water. When water warms up during the summer, Carbon dioxide is released from the ocean into the atmosphere. As water cools down during the winter, it is able to absorb more carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide is released from the ocean into the atmosphere, that is called outgassing. When carbon dioxide goes from the atmosphere into the ocean, that is called absorption. During the soundtrack, the sounds of outgassing will occur on the left channel, and the sounds of absorption will occur on the right channel.
Winter. Spring. Summer. Fall.
When we hear it all together, the ocean almost sounds like it is breathing. Breath in during the cold winter, breath out during the hot summer. Absorbing carbon dioxide when it's cold and then releasing or outgassing when it is warm.
So this carbon dioxide flux between the ocean atmosphere is a very important phenomenon related to Earth's climate, because as many of you probably know, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and it is causing the average temperature of our planet to warm up. But vast amounts of this carbon dioxide have been and continue to be absorbed by the ocean. And understanding these exchanges, therefore, are very important for predicting how climate change will evolve going forward. And that's why we're interested in this, and why ocean scientists spend a lot of time measuring this carbon dioxide exchange. So a couple of the other features that we introduced, you did hear spearcons or speech earcons there, where the actual years or the seasons, excuse me, were spoken as the time series moves along to help the learner understand the relationship between the values and the seasons. We also have the time ticks, like you heard in the first sonification as well. We also introduced a specific sound to note or denote the beginning and end of each of the sonification. So the listener knows, okay, it's starting now, and okay, now it's ending. Otherwise, if you had a period of 0 data values and there might not be any sound, you don't know, well, is it over or is this just 0? So we felt it was important to put clear start and end sounds for the listener. So we're going to listen to one more. I should say, this would be a good time to say that these are shortened versions of our full auditory display prototypes. The full versions are about 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes long. These are 2-minute long excerpts. If you're interested in listening to the full versions, you can go to our website, which is on the slide there, accessibleoceans.hui.edu. Hui stands for Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. So next, we will listen to another auditory display, which similarly has an introducing narration, audio key, but this one is about how organisms in the ocean, specifically small shrimp-like creatures called zooplankton, how they swim up and down in the ocean in response to night and day. So I think with that, we'll go ahead and play that one.
There are many animals on land that are most active at night. Did you know that many animals in the ocean are also most energetic at night, using the cover of darkness to hunt and feed? Let's explore with our ears. No matter where you live, the sun rises and sets every day. This daily cycle of light and dark sets the rhythm of life on Earth for most plants and animals, including humans. There are sensors that can measure the amount of light, also called solar radiation, throughout the day and night. Let's listen to some solar radiation data. One day of solar radiation would sound like this. Much like a bat uses sound to find insects to eat, scientists use echo sounders to observe the changing depth of zooplankton, tiny shrimp-like animals that live in the upper ocean. In our data sonification, this is what zooplankton swimming upward sounds like. This is what zooplankton swimming downwards sounds like. Let's put it all together now and listen to zooplankton movement with the solar radiation data.
8 p.m. Midnight. 8 a.m. Noon.
Wow! The zooplankton certainly use sunlight to decide when to swim up and when to swim down. When the sun sets, they head to the surface, and when the sun rises again, they swim back down.
So there's a little miniature ocean science education lesson for you. So those are the data sonification demonstrations I have. And I'm really looking forward to exploring data sonification more in the future, both for my own research and as a public education and engagement tool in informal learning environments like museums. In our testing of these prototypes so far, we've found that even normally sighted people enjoy these hearing the data through sound. Some people have kind of a phobia about graphics and data displays and plots. You know, maybe they'll report, self-identify as hating math and science and never learned how to read a graph. And you know, this is a way that they can still participate and learn about ocean science and sort of the cool stuff going on there. As far as the use of data sonification in ocean science research, such as I do, that is in its infancy. And I hope to work with others to try to bring what has been already learned and applied in, for example, astronomy, to a very high level to the ocean and other earth sciences where it's rarely used for research. But I think many of the data sets are similar in character, and we have, you know, similar types of analyses that we want to do with Earth data as well as astronomical data. So I think there's a lot of potential for data sonification in the earth sciences. So that's all I have for you today, and I hope you enjoy the forum, and talk to you again someday.